All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone. For those of you I have not met in person, my name is Kirk King. I'm the guy behind MortgageHalo, and this is our first try at this like town hall kind of meeting. We'll see how it goes. If it works pretty well, um, we'll do more. Um, for those of you who didn't meet me but may have met my previous customer success manager, Dink Card, Um, she retired at the end of June and she's doing very well. She loves being retired, loves playing with her grandbabies. Um, but I want to make sure that as the market changes, that everybody knows the intended design of MortgageHalo and how to use it. And the major theme for today is actually email marketing. So first of all, let me start out by this. I want to give credit to Dark Whisper and iStock for taking a picture of a hammer um, banging in a screw, right? So the reason I like this picture, and I just found it a few minutes before this town hall, is because if you understand what something's designed for and how it's designed, you'll have a better understanding on how to use it. So with that being said, this is the inside of MortgageHalo. So MortgageHalo was designed very intentional to be the most automatic mortgage CRM in the nation, right? That's the intended design. So the way that it's supposed to work is that you keep all the information in the LOS, you have the buyer and listing agent on the files, and then all that data flows into MortgageHalo with what's called an API. And that is how 99% of the data gets into MortgageHalo. So you keep good records inside of your LOS. It automatically feeds into MortgageHalo. And for the most part, a lot of email marketing goes out automatically. So what you'll notice first of all here is this is a test account. So you're going to see test data. This is just a test account. And I point that out is because the funny email address we used is MortgageHalo user. And like most of you, I'm glad 2024 is over, and I'm optimistic that 2025 is going to be better. But when we talk about email marketing, I want you to understand that there's a lot that goes into it, right? So everything that we're designing and creating and sending out on your behalf is designed not just to keep in touch, but also to try to generate a lead for you, right? That is the intent of MortgageHalo. And because of the intended design of it running automatically, a lot of stuff is happening for you automatically. So let's first of all look under contacts, which is where we're going to spend most of our time today. But when you log into your MortgageHalo, you go under your contacts, you'll notice different types of campaigns that are running. So anyone that says a customer means that you've done business with them before. You had a mortgage closing. You'll also see things like referral partners. You'll see mortgage first-time home buyers. You may see credit coaching lender programs activated. Now, these two I just created today to show you. But if the credit score is at a certain rate and it comes over from the LOS into MortgageHalo, it'll automatically trigger that contact to start into a 6-month credit coaching campaign. Likewise, if the LOS is identified as a first-time home buyer, it'll automatically put them in a first-time home buyer campaign. The lender coaching, credit coaching, and the first-time home buyer, these two programs run for 6 months. So 6 months from the enrollment date. And then after the 6 months, they fall into a generic prospect campaign. So again, all this stuff can be done automatically. And for the most part, you shouldn't have to do anything, right? I want you to be able to focus on relationships and referral partners and growing your business. and I don't want you having to do a bunch of data entry. So you may also wonder sometimes why some people are put into a Q1 or a Q3 or a Q2. That is also because we vary the designs. So these are emails that we're sending out automatically. And we wouldn't want to send an e-card over and over again every single month. We wouldn't want to send an e-newsletter over every single month. We wouldn't want to send an email over every single month. So what we do is we alternate the designs and the copy and the messaging and the content so that if they're a past customer, they're going to be receiving something from you once a quarter plus on their birthday, right? So past customers get 5 touch points a year. These credit coaching and first-time home buyers, they start out more frequently, like weekly, then go to bi-weekly, and then go to 3 weeks, and then eventually go to monthly until the 6-month campaigns are over, and then they fall in the generic prospect campaign. So the last study I read was just a couple months ago, and they were saying that from the time people start looking for a house to the time they actually buy a house, get a signed PA, is somewhere in the 27 months range. So I don't know about you, but I'm a pretty good sales guy. I don't follow up with prospects for 27 months. I just don't. So the least thing that we can do is get them into the programs so that at least once a month they're going to receive something from you, professionally done, compliant, that just reminds them that you're the loan officer that helped them get a pre-qual or pre-approval, and that you're going to be there as soon as they get that signed PA. You're their first choice, right? That's what I want you to always be, is the first choice. Now, what I also would like to point out here is that if you just kind of scroll through the different pages in your contacts, you may notice that some of the contacts don't have email addresses. You can see it right on the home screen. So obviously, if there's no email address in here, we can't send them an email. So as much as painstaking as it is, typing in data is awful. That's why I try to prevent you from having to do 99% of it. But just understand that if you've got contacts in here and there's a missing email address, there's no emails going out to them. Doesn't mean we're not trying to send out emails to them, but when the system is designed and it's triggered to send out a touch point to Michael Scott, there's no email, nothing gets delivered, right? What I also want to point out is that at any time you can click on a contact and you can go into the program schedule. Now, don't worry, this program schedule isn't going to end this year. We redesign these programs every 3 years. So somewhere around the Q4 of 2026, you'll see all the next touch points to these contacts. But we actually design the campaigns in 3-year intervals. And then every month we're designing, writing the copy, doing the creative for next month's deployments. And again, we do all that for you. Now, most of our customers use a multi-year campaign. So when you log in under your contacts, you may see 3-year campaign, 5-year campaign, 7-year campaign. And what that means is that for 3 years, 5 years, or 7 years after the closing, we're not only sending out emails, but we're also sending out print mail, anniversary letters, physical birthday cards, a thank you card to the referral partner, those type of contacts. So there's a lot of different email marketing that's automatically happening for you, that with the feed coming in from your LOS, you should not have to do hardly any data entry. Now, that being said, when there's a buyer and listing agent in the LOS under that closing, they automatically come into MortgageHalo too. And they automatically go into what's called a referral campaign. So a referral campaign is just a nice, again, monthly touch point from you to your potential referral partners. And then at any given time, even if you go to a networking event, you shake hands and you meet a real estate agent, and you don't have a deal associated with that agent, so they're not necessarily going to be in your LOS. I just want to show you how easy it is to add them to a campaign. So we're just going to literally click the word create. We're going to put in, you know, uh, uh, Susan, I probably spelled that wrong. Susan Agent. And we're going to put in Susan Agent at gmail.com. And I'm going to put an A dash in front of it just so we don't actually send an email to Susan Agent. And then I'm going to hit the next button. And then you notice that it highlighted what type of contact this is. We need to know what type of contact it is so we know how to put it in the right campaign. So you're going to pick down here, hey, this is an agent, this is a potential referral partner. And then you're going to hit the submit button. And then it asks for a subcontact type. So in this case, you would say realtor. Submit. And now that contact was just created inside your system, and they automatically went into a referral partner touch point that gets deployed every single month with your contact information, your license number information, your photo, your social media links if you have them in the system, all that information. And again, it's all sent out for you. It's done for you. You don't have to do anything to make it happen, right? So, you know, I talked to a lot of loan officers, and a lot of loan officers think, oh, well, I'm going to buy a list of real estate agents and I'm going to upload them. Okay, well, that will flag your account. So that's called spam. You can't do that. But if you do meet somebody or you know somebody, it does not hurt a thing to put them in the system. Because of the government laws, we have to have the ability for them to unsubscribe. If somebody does unsubscribe from Mortgage Halo, it usually is a real estate agent. Um, but you don't need that many referral partners to keep you busy, right? Um, so I like to see at least 100 referral partners inside of Mortgage Halo. Now, if you don't have that many, of course, just make sure the ones that you have in there are put in there. I've also had loan officers say, you know what, I don't want to put my referral partners in there um, because if I leave the company, I don't want them to be reassigned. Well, we have business rules here. We never reassign friends and family, and we never reassign referral partners. Those are your referral partners. Those are not the financial institutions. So there should be no hesitation in getting your referral partners in there. Let's at least put a professional touch point in front of them every month to make sure they remember that you are available and ready to jump on anything that they can send your way. So the next thing I'd like to point out is that you notice this screen here doesn't have any interest rates. Okay, so a lot of this stuff comes into like user interface, user experience, less is more. Um, so we try to keep it clean, but I want you to know that as long as we have the integration with the LOS, your interest rates will be coming into the system. Everything is in here the way it's supposed to be. So if you wanted to, let's say, look for people who have an 8% interest rate or higher, you can literally just type in the number 8 and hit search. And then magically, all of your contacts' interest rates will show up here. This is important information. So of course, you can also click the interest rate button and it'll sort from lowest to highest, or you can sort it the other way, which is highest to lowest. So again, this is all test data, it's not real case. But if you had somebody who had an 8.5% interest rate, a past customer, this is somebody you want to contact. Now, I don't know if it's the same for mortgage loan officers, but in my world, I call somebody first and then I send them an email, and then magically they reply to the email. If I only send them an email, they often don't call me back or email me back. So it may work good for you. You may want to test that. But if I thought I could save Samuel a couple $100 a month, I would call him first and then I would send him an email. So I know this sounds basic and elementary. You're probably all better salespeople than I am, but it's just something that I want to recommend. Again, we're not wanting to try to get that screw in the board with a hammer, right? The other thing I want to point out is is that if your financial institutions, and a lot of the larger ones, require you to send out emails through Outlook. So in other words, they're not wanting you to send it out through MortgageHalo. They want you to send it out through Outlook. No problem. You can literally just click on the email address right there, and then magically, and it'll probably open on the screen. No, it'll open on the screen. Magically, the email will automatically load into Outlook, and then you can send the message through Outlook. Okay. If your institution does not specify that and you'd like to send out your emails through MortgageHalo, you can do that easily. You click on the eyeball, which loads up the contact. Sometimes there's a contact one, contact two. In this case, there's just a contact one. So we're going to click send email. Again, it'll automatically load the email address. You can type in your own subject line. You can type in your own message. And then you can hit the send button. And when you do hit the send button, it actually logs this activity under that contact. So that if you log into that contact in the future, you'll be able to see logged an email was sent, and it'll identify what date it'll send. You can also click on the email and actually read the email to refresh yourself on what you sent last time, right? Another thing that, again, 99% of you probably will not do is you can also add an event, right? So you can say, call Samuel. You can trigger it as a call. You can schedule your task for 3 weeks from now. You can hit submit, and then it'll schedule a task for you to contact Samuel on that date. So where you see all your key activities, your key tasks are actually under their dashboard on the right-hand side. So when you log into MortgageHalo, you'll notice that there's an anniversary date, a birthday. Again, I know 99% of you won't do it, but if you pick up the phone call and say, I can't believe we closed your mortgage 5 years ago, just wanted to call Sarah and speak to you and see how you're doing. I can't believe, Victoria, it's your birthday already. If you actually make these calls, you'll get more business, you'll get more referrals, people will think of you more frequently. But then also, when it comes to this in that next week, your call reminder to call Samuel will be inside your dashboard. So hopefully that makes sense. Again, you can add any type of contact you'd like. Really easy. Click the contact button. You'll have to pick the type, the subcontact type. I recommend you put in phone numbers, not because I'm going to call them or anybody on my staff's going to call them, but just so that you can reference it easy so you don't have to look it up in the LOS. So this is kind of basic email marketing stuff that hopefully you're using, or maybe you'll start using in the future. The next things we're going to talk about is a little bit more advanced. So again, just a reminder one more time, if you wanted to find, let's say, anybody with a 6.125, you may want to put 6.124 as your interest rate and hit the search button. Now, these are all fake data. That's why it's only to a single decimal place instead of usually 3 decimal places. But at least it gives you an idea on which customers of yours in the past that you may be able to save money, maybe things you want to run through a pricing engine so you can give them a phone call and say, I think I can save you $230 a month. And also, send a follow-up email because you're likely going to leave a voicemail, which is what the whole world seems to require nowadays, is a voicemail. But anyway, that's kind of the basics of email marketing. Again, most of the data comes in from the LOS. It automatically triggers in campaigns. It's automatically going out on your behalf. People are automatically replying to these emails. When they hit the reply button, it comes directly to you. I don't see the reply. Even my developers can't see the reply. So some of those are just thank you. Some of them are like, hey, we love our house. Some of them are like, my sister needs a mortgage. I don't see the replies. So please look for emails that you get replies to, maybe the ones that you didn't send that were sent from MortgageHalo, Because when we send them, we're sending them, with verified DNS records, so they look exactly like they're coming from you. So when people reply to them, they come directly back to you, right? So you've got to read those emails. You don't want to miss an opportunity just because you had several emails in your inbox. The other thing is that you will get bounce backs. Sometimes, even if your customer used a different email address when they closed their mortgage, if you get a bounce back from an email that we sent, again, we're sending it from you with verified DNS records. So those bounce backs come back to your inbox. Please go into the system. You can search by that contact's first name, last name, email, whatever. Click on the eyeball, and you can either remove their email or you can add a new one, add a corrected email. You may have more than one email in the LOS. I don't know. But when you get bounce backs, try to fix the email address and just watch for those replies, because most of the interaction is they're going to just reply to the emails directly to you. And if your bank or credit union or mortgage company has like a quarantine system, watch for those quarantine. They may be replying from an email from MortgageHalo. And then once you mark save, safe sender, safe receiver, they'll stop going to quarantine, right? But again, I can't even tell you they went to your quarantine because I don't see the replies when a contact just hits the reply button. It just goes directly back to you. So with that being said, this is the basics of email marketing. What I'm going to show you now is more advanced, and it's more on the email blast functionality. So you'll notice that everything we talked about is pretty much under the contacts. What we're going to talk about now is over here on the left side. Now, as you can imagine, we started building MortgageHalo in 2013. It's had a different couple names. So if your account does not have the email blast function turned on, just email cs@Halo Programs. It might not have been developed when we set your account up. We were very blessed to have some customers with us for decades, even before we were a software company. So if you don't see this button on the side, please just send an email to cs@Halo Programs. We can activate that for your account. And when we activate for your account, all your loan officers will have it. So we don't need 40 emails from different loan officers. Just one person from your company can just say, hey, our account doesn't have the email blast function turned on. Please turn it on, and we'll turn it on for you. Okay. Now we're going to talk about the email blast function. So I'm going to tell you how I like to do it. You can do it whatever way you want, but I like to create the list first. So first thing I want to do is I just want to search. Okay. And then, oh no, did I do something up? Okay, so it says there's 100 system generated. Okay, so this is the test account. Okay, good. So first things first, the number of records that you have should show up here. So it should be like, in this case, it should be like 105 system generated emails, and those should show up right here. Then you create the new list. Okay. So what I like to do is I like to name my list after I create it. Okay. So first thing I like to do is I like to add a filter. So maybe I'm going to pick the loan rate, and I'm going to pick greater than, we'll just say 7.25. Then I'm going to hit apply. So out of my 105 contacts in this test record, it's identified 42 of them have an interest rate above 7.25. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do is add another filter. So I may want to choose a closing date, and I'm going to choose less than, and I like to pick today's date, and then I just do the math in my head. So I go back to the 7th of last year, and then I hit apply. Okay. So now we have two filters applied. So this small list of 42 contacts has an interest rate of over 7.25 and over closing date less than July 9th of, oh, I did change that. Yeah, that's all right. I messed up. I can always fix that. Do a closing date less than. Okay. All right. So now it brought the records down to 38. Um, so now I can actually create a list now based on these two filters. So real simple. I'm not a rocket scientist, although I am an engineer. I try to be a friendly engineer. Um, but I'm just going to say customers with 7.25 uh, greater than 7.25. And then I'm going to say before July 9th, 2024. And then I'm going to create my list. So it's just going to take a second. It'll generate the list. You can hit the search button, and then you'll see that this list has just been created. Now, there are times when you want to send out an email to everybody in your database. The most common time to do that is when um, maybe you're collecting toys for tots. It's just recently Christmas, so I'm using that as an example. You're collecting toys for tots at your bank branches, right? It wouldn't hurt anything to send out an email blast to all of your contacts and let them know that you're collecting toys for tots at all of your branches between this date and this date. And if they're going to come to the branch, please stop in and drop off an unwrapped toy, right? But for the most part, things should be more focused, right? So now that you've created this list, the next thing I do is I go over to the templates. Okay. Now, again, this is also depending on your company. So a lot of our customers, their marketing departments have actually designed these email blast templates. They've put in the messaging. They've in some of them, in some cases, they've allowed you to create different subject lines. Sometimes they've actually locked up the subject lines too. So in that case, you can just use one of the templates that has already been designed, copywritten, and approved by your financial institution. But in this case, we don't have any created, right? So these are generic templates. So you can just select the template, and there is a fee to send out the templates. Most of those are just billed back to the company. We know that you're not going to abuse this. You're not going to try to put those screws in with a hammer. Um, but I really recommend that, before you type in really long subject lines, Google how long a subject line should be. Remember you're writing a generic message that's going to go out to, in this case, 38 contacts. You can also name your template once you've typed it in your message. You may want to type in your message in Word so that you don't have any typos in it. And then you can also change the email to who you want to send the proof to. So you may want to send it to your Gmail account. You may want to send it to your Outlook account. You may want to send it to, I don't know, another email account, just to make sure that the proofs look good on multiple different platforms, because we're sending out collectively millions of emails for all of our loan officers nationwide every year. And there's a lot that goes into messaging, subject line, lengths, making sure that it looks good on Outlook and email and Gmail and everything else. So you may want to play with this a little bit before you actually go through and process the order and deploy the hey, I can save you money message to those 38 contacts on that list. Excuse me. Sorry about that. So hopefully this was helpful. Again, it's kind of a monologue. Sorry about that. Um, Hopefully you got value out of it. Um, you know, we're a little different company, right? So we design the system to run as much by automatic as possible. We're never far away. I mean, we are in Michigan, so if you're ever in Michigan, jump in a car, drive 30 minutes north of Metro Airport or 30 minutes north of U of M. You can come to our headquarters. We love having visitors. Um, but between 8 and 5, Monday through Friday, Eastern Time, you can just call our main number. It's on our website. You can also put in a ticket to see us at Halo Programs. We create a ticket number. We'll resolve your ticket pretty quickly, within a few days for sure. When the ticket's closed, you know it's resolved. But we want to provide you the best service, but we don't want you keying in a bunch of data, right? We want it to run automatically for you so you can do what you're best at, which is close mortgages. So thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for being a loyal customer of ours. Thanks for staying with us through this really tough 2024. And no matter which analyst you talk to or read about, most of them are saying that we're expecting about a 10% increase this year over last year. So the only way you can get more than 10% is if you take other people's loans. And I hope to help you do that with Mortgage Halo. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a blessed Thursday, and we appreciate all of you. And we're going to keep trying to generate as many leads as we can for you. Bye.